Hello student, welcome to my channel Science Learning Gateway. Today we will start class 10th Science NCERT chapter number 3 Metals and Non-Metal. This chapter is also from chemistry and it will carry nearly 5 to 6 marks for your board exam. So very important chapter from your exam point of view and it is scoring too. So now let's have a quick look at the topics which we have to study in this chapter. We'll see a little introduction about this chapter in introduction part. Next we'll read about the physical properties of metals and non-metals. Next topic is chemical properties of metals, means different reaction of metals we'll see with air, water, acid, metal salts, etc. Next topic is reactivity series. Fifth one is reaction of metal with non-metal. Sixth topic, ion compounds and its property. Next topic is occurrence of metal, extraction and its refining process. And the last topic of this chapter is corrosion and its prevention. So now let's get started. Okay, you all know there are 118 elements in the periodic table. Okay, you have read in your previous classes that there are 118 elements in the periodic table, and out of these 118 elements they are classified into metals, non-metals and metalloids. Okay, these 118 elements are classified as metals, non-metals and metalloids. Okay, so these 118 elements are classified as metals, non-metals and the metalloids. Elements can be classified as metals and non-metals on the basis of their properties. Means metals have different properties and non-metals have different properties. You all know many types of metals and non-metals we use in our daily life. Can you tell me the name of some of the metals and non-metals which we use in our daily life? Yes, some of the metals which we use in our daily life are aluminium, copper, gold, silver, etc. And the non-metals which we use in our daily life are carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, etc. Okay, so now let's have a quick look on the periodic table. You can see this periodic table. All the metals are present on the left hand side of the periodic table and all the non-metals they are present on the right hand side of the periodic table. Okay, all the metals are present on the left hand side of the periodic table and all the non-metals they are present on the right hand side of the periodic table. You can see a zigzag line which separates a metal from the non-metal. The elements which are present in this zigzag lines are known as metalloids. What are metalloids? Metalloids are those elements which have some properties of metals and some of the properties of non-metals. Means they will show both the properties of metals and non-metals. Okay, so the metalloids are the group of elements which have properties similar to both metals and non-metals. Some of the example of metalloids are boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony. 2 or 3 metalloid example you should know. Okay, sometimes question can be asked, what are metalloids? Give example. The metalloids are group of elements which have some properties of metals and some properties of non-metals. Example are boron and silicon. Next, now we'll see what are metals and non-metals. Metals are those elements which can lose electrons easily to form positive ions. Examples of metals are sodium, potassium, zinc, iron, silver, gold, etc. Okay, these are all the examples of metals. Now we'll understand with an example how metals will lose electrons. Okay, now let's have a quick look on sodium. What is the atomic number of sodium? 11. Electronic configuration, how we will write? 2, 8, 1. How many electrons are present in the last shell of this sodium? Only 1 electron. So it can donate its 1 electron to become stable or to form any other compound. So what sodium will do? It will donate its 1 electron and it will form Na plus ion. Na plus ion. Okay, sodium can donate its 1 electron to form Na plus ion. So metals are those elements which can lose their electrons to form positive ions. Now we will see what are non-metals. Non-metals are those elements which can gain electrons and form negative ions. Non-metals are those elements which can gain electrons and form negative ions. Okay, so some of the examples of non-metals are carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, bromine, oxygen and chlorine. Now we will understand with an example how non-metals will gain electron. What is the atomic number of chlorine? Yes, 17. Okay. So how we will write the electronic configuration? 2, 8 and 7. So in the outermost shell, how many electrons are present for this chlorine? 7 electrons are present for this chlorine. So how many extra electron it needs to complete its octet? Only 1 electron. If it will gain 1 electron, it will complete its octet and it will become stable. So chlorine will gain 1 electron and it will form Cl minus ion. It will form Cl minus ion. So nonmetals are the elements which can gain electron to form negative ions. Okay, to form negative ions. Now we'll read about physical properties of metals and nonmetals. Okay. So now let's have a quick look on the physical properties of metals. Metals, they are hard except sodium, potassium and lithium. All the metals are hard. Exception are sodium, potassium and lithium. These are the metals which can easily be cut with a knife. They are very soft in nature. Sodium, potassium and lithium. So you should remember the name of these metals. Sometimes questions are asked, name some metals which are very soft in nature or which can be easily cut with knife. So what answer you will write for that? Sodium, potassium and lithium. Metals are malleable and ductile. Okay, so these are the properties of metals, malleable and ductile. We'll see what do we understand by malleable and ductile. Malleable means the metals can be beaten into thin sheets. You can see the gold sheets or the silver sheet or the aluminum foil. In that what happens? Metal can be beaten into thin sheets. Ductile means metal can be drawn into thin wires. We have seen the wires of copper, aluminum, etc. Okay, so metals have the property of malleability and ductility. They have metallic luster, shining. We all know that metals are very shining in nature. We have seen the metals like gold, silver, copper, aluminum. They are very shining and lustrous in nature. They are sonorous. Sonorous means what? Means they can produce sound. When we will beat the metal, they will produce sound. They are very good conductor of heat and electricity. They are good conductor of heat and electricity. Can you tell me the name of some metals which are very good conductor of heat and electricity? Copper and silver are very good conductor of heat and electricity. They have high melting and boiling point. All the metals, they have very high melting and boiling point. They are solid. They are solid means they are solid in nature but except mercury. All the metals are solid in nature except mercury. Mercury is in which state? It is in liquid state. So these are the different properties of metals. They are hard except sodium, potassium and lithium. These metals can be easily cut with knife, but other metals are very hard in nature. They are malleable and ductile. They have metallic luster means they. Next one is they are sonorous means they can produce sound. They are good conductor of heat and electricity. They have high melting and boiling point and they are solid except mercury. Now we will see the terms malleability and ductility. Okay, once again we'll have a look on malleability and ductility. The malleability is a property due to which metals can be beaten into thin sheets. You have to remember that metal is beaten into thin sheets and is called malleability. Examples are gold, silver and aluminum. Even gold and silver are the most malleable metals. Okay, they have very high chances of malleability, means they're very most malleable metals. Ductility is the property of element due to which metal can be drawn into thin wires. Okay, ductility is a property of metal in which metal can be drawn into thin wires. Example, gold, silver, copper, aluminum. In the electrical wires also we have seen the wires of copper, aluminum, etc. So they have the property to draw into thin sheets. Now we'll read about the properties of nonmetals. The first property of nonmetals are either solid or gaseous. Okay, generally they are solid or gaseous in nature, but exception is bromine, which is liquid at room temperature. Okay, like that we have read in solid also, in metals also, that mercury is the exception. It is liquid at room temperature. Likewise in nonmetals, bromine is liquid at room temperature. The question can be asked, name a nonmetal which is liquid at room temperature. What answer you will write for that? Bromine. They do not conduct heat and electricity. Okay, nonmetals do not conduct heat and electricity, but exception is our graphite. Graphite conducts heat and electricity. They are non-malleable and non-ductile, just opposite to metals, you have to write the properties for non-metals. They have low melting and boiling points. Metals have high melting and boiling point, and non-metals have low melting and boiling point. They are non-lustrous except diamond and iodine. Means all the non-metals are non-lustrous. They are not shining and not lustrous in nature. Exception is diamond and iodine. Diamond and iodine are very shining, very lustrous in nature. They are mostly soft and brittle. Okay, all the non-metals are soft and brittle. Exception is diamond. Diamond is the hardest known substance. Okay, diamond is very hard in nature. So these are the different properties of non-metals. Just opposite to non-metals, you have to write the difference of non-metals. So you can now write the difference between metals and non-metals on the basis of these properties. Now we'll see some exceptions of metals and non-metals. Mercury is a metal which exists as solid liquid at room temperature. Okay, mercury is a metal. Question can be asked, name a metal which exists at liquid at room temperature. What answer you will write for that? Mercury. It is used in the thermometers also. Gallium and cesium are the metals which have very low melting and boiling point. These two metals, gallium and cesium, have so less melting and boiling point that they can even melt in, if you will keep them in our palms also, in the hands also, if you will keep them, they will melt. Iodine is a non-metal, but it is lustrous. It is shining in nature, iodine. Now we'll read about carbon. Okay, carbon is a non-metal and it has many allotropes. It can exist in different forms called allotrope. So what are the three forms of carbon which we have to read in this chapter? Diamond, graphite, and one is Buckminster fullerene. These are the three allotropes of carbon: diamond, graphite, and Buckminster fullerene. Diamond, an allotrope of carbon, is the hardest natural substance known, and it has a very high melting and boiling point. Graphite, another allotrope of carbon, is a good conductor of electricity. Carbon is a non-metal, but its allotrope, diamond, it is very hardest known substance and it has high melting and boiling point. Graphite, on the other hand, is a good conductor of heat and electricity. Alkali metals like sodium, potassium, lithium are so soft that they can be cut with knife. Okay, these are very soft in nature and they can be cut with knife. So these exceptions you should remember so that you can write in your exams if questions will come. You have to remember that carbon has three allotrope forms. One is diamond, another one is graphite, and third one is Buckminster fullerene. Our next topic is chemical properties of metals. Now we'll read about the chemical properties of metals. In this we will see the different reactions of metals. Okay, first reaction is reaction of metal with air. Air means with oxygen. We will see the reaction of metal with oxygen. All the metals react with oxygen to form metal oxides. Means metal will combine with oxygen and it will form metal oxide. For example, copper. It combines with oxygen O2 to form CuO, copper oxide. Okay, magnesium will combine with oxygen to form MgO, magnesium oxide. Aluminium will combine with oxygen to form Al2O3, aluminium oxide. Okay, like that, zinc will combine with oxygen to form ZnO, zinc oxide. Okay, so all the metals will combine with oxygen to form metal oxide. Copper oxide, magnesium oxide, aluminium oxide, zinc oxide, sodium oxide, etc. The reactivity of different metals are different with oxygen. Okay, some of the metals are very reactive, some of the metals are less reactive with oxygen. Okay, now we'll see these in this points. Sodium and potassium react so vigorously that they catch fire if kept in open. So they are kept immersed in kerosene oil. Sodium and potassium, they are very reactive metal. Okay, they are never kept in open. They are always kept in kerosene oil. If they will kept in open, they will come in contact with air and moisture and they can catch fire also. Okay, accident can occur. So generally sodium and potassium are kept in kerosene oil because of their high reactivity. So you have to remember this point. Question can be asked, why sodium and potassium are kept in kerosene oil? So what answer you will write for that? Sodium and potassium are very reactive metals. They can catch fire if kept in open. They will react with oxygen and they can catch fire. So they are kept in kerosene oil. You have to remember the point. They are very reactive metal. Surfaces of magnesium, lead, zinc and aluminium are covered with a thin layer of oxide which prevent them from further oxidation. Okay, magnesium, lead, zinc, aluminium, they will form a thin layer of oxide layer. Okay, which will help them to become corroded. Further oxidation will not take place. Iron does not burn on heating, but iron fillings burn vigorously. Okay, the metal iron, it will not burn on heating, but if we'll take iron fillings, it will burn vigorously. Copper does not burn, but coated with copper black oxide. Copper vessels and all copper wire we have seen, it will not burn, but it will coat with a covering of black copper oxide can be seen on copper. Silver and gold does not react with oxygen. We used to wear silver and gold jewelry. They will not react with oxygen. Okay. Now we'll see what are amphoteric oxides. Very important topic. Okay. Amphoteric oxide. What are amphoteric oxides? Now we will see. Metal oxides which react with both acid as well as bases to produce salt and water are called amphoteric oxides. Example, aluminum oxide and zinc oxide. Amphoteric oxides are those oxides which can react with base also as well as acid also. They will react with both acids as well as bases. So you have to remember, amphoteric oxides are those oxides which will react with both acids and bases. Examples are aluminum oxides and zinc oxide. How will you prove that aluminum oxide is an amphoteric oxide? With two reactions, we can prove that aluminum oxide is an amphoteric oxide. We'll show the reaction of aluminum oxide with acid first, and then we will show the reaction of this aluminum oxide with a base. Al2O3, aluminum oxide, it will react with hydrochloric acid HCl to form AlCl3 plus H2O. Aluminum chloride plus water, salt and water is formed. In the second reaction, aluminum oxide react with the base NaOH to form NaAlO2, sodium aluminate plus water. Okay, so these are the two reactions with the help of which we can say that aluminum oxide is an amphoteric oxide. It is reacting with acid also and it is reacting with a base also. So question can be asked, what are amphoteric oxides? Or you can give example, or they can ask you, how will you prove that aluminum oxide is an amphoteric oxide? So what you have to write for that? Aluminum oxide is an amphoteric oxide because it can react with both acid and bases. We will prove that with the help of these reactions. These two reactions you have to mention in that, and with the help of that you can prove that. Our next reaction is reaction of metal with water. Okay, now let's see what products we'll get when metal will react with water. Metal react with water and produces a metal oxide and hydrogen gas. Okay, whenever a metal will react with water, it will produce metal oxide and hydrogen gas. Metal oxides that are soluble in water dissolve in it further to form metal hydroxides. Okay, metal oxides will again react with water to form metal hydroxide. Metal react with water to form metal oxide plus hydrogen gas. Okay, next one, this metal oxide will again react with water to form metal hydroxide. Let's see with an example. Sodium reacts with water to form sodium hydroxide, hydrogen gas plus heat energy. Next, calcium react with water to form calcium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. Magnesium react with water to form magnesium hydroxide plus hydrogen gas. Aluminium react with water to form Al2O3, aluminum oxide plus hydrogen gas. Iron react with water to form Fe3O4, iron oxide plus hydrogen gas. So in these three reactions, we can see that the metals sodium, calcium and magnesium, they are reacting with water to form their respective hydroxide. But the metal aluminum and iron, they can react only with with water to form only the oxides, aluminum oxides and iron oxides. Now have a look on this table, reaction with metals. Okay, these three metals, sodium, potassium and calcium, they can react with cold water. Okay, aluminum, iron and zinc, they will react with steam, means gaseous water. Next, no reaction. Which metals will show no reaction with water? Lead, copper, silver and gold, they will not react with water at all. In your question in your textbook or sometime in your exam, they will ask the questions, name some metals which will not react with water. What answer you will write for that? You can write silver, gold. These two examples you can remember very easily, silver, gold, copper, etc. Calcium and magnesium float as bubbles of hydrogen stick to their surface. Calcium and magnesium, they will not react with water. They will float as bubbles. They will react with water and the hydrogen bubbles will float on their surface. Okay. So these are the different reactions of metals with water. Now third topic is reaction of metal with acid. Now we'll see the reaction of metal with acid. Metals react with dilute acid to give salt and hydrogen gas. Metal will react with dilute acid, not the concentrated one. So what do you understand by dilute acid? In which the amount of water is more and amount of acid is less. Metal react with dilute acid to form salt and hydrogen gas. Example, iron will react with HCl, dilute hydrochloric acid. What product we will get? FeCl2 plus H2. The bond between hydrogen and chlorine will break. Iron will combine with chlorine. It will form FeCl2. Ferric chloride plus hydrogen gas. Magnesium will react with HCl to form MgCl2 plus H2, magnesium chloride plus hydrogen gas. In the third reaction, zinc will react with HCl to form ZnCl2, zinc chloride plus hydrogen gas. So all the metals will react with acid to form the respective salt and hydrogen gas will be evolved. Hydrogen gas is not evolved when a metal reacts with nitric acid. This is very important point. Generally, questions are asked from this topic. Why hydrogen gas is not evolved when a metal reacts with nitric acid? Okay, so what is the answer of this question? This is because nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent. It oxidizes hydrogen into water and itself get reduced into any of the nitrogen oxides like NO, NO2 and N2O. So this is the answer of this question. What is the question? Why nitric acid is when a metal reacts with nitric acid, why hydrogen gas is not evolved? So what is the answer of this question? Nitric acid is a strong oxidizing agent. You have to remember this word, strong oxidizing agent. It oxidizes hydrogen produced in the reaction into water and itself get reduced into nitrogen oxides, nitrogen dioxides or nitrous oxide. Next point is aqua regia. This is also important point. Okay, aqua regia. What is aqua regia? It is a freshly prepared mixture of concentrated hydrochloric acid and nitric acid in the ratio of 3:1. Okay, what is aqua regia? It is a freshly prepared mixture of concentrated hydrochloric acid and nitric acid in the ratio of 3:1. Concentrated hydrochloric acid plus concentrated nitric acid in the ratio of 3:1. In the ratio of 3:1. This is the ratio of this is the ratio of hydrochloric acid to nitric acid. So you have to remember it is a freshly prepared. We have to prepare it freshly, we cannot store it. It is a freshly prepared mixture of concentrated hydrochloric acid and concentrated nitric acid in the ratio of 3:1. You should remember the ratio also. Next topic is reaction of metal with solution of other metal salt. Okay, this is the last reaction in the chemical properties. Reactive metals can displace less reactive from their compounds in solution or molten form. We have read this in our first chapter of chemical reaction equation, in that displacement reaction, that a more reactive metal can displace a less reactive metal from its salt solution. For example, if we take metal A and salt solution of B, if metal A is more reactive than B, it will take its place and the next metal will come out from the reaction. Okay, for example, if we'll take this reaction. If we'll see this reaction, Fe plus CuSO4. What product we are getting? FeSO4 plus Cu. Iron is more reactive than copper. Iron is taking the place of copper in this reaction and it is forming FeSO4 plus Cu. The bond between copper and sulfate SO4 will break. Iron will take the place of copper and it will form FeSO4 and copper will come out. In this reaction, iron is more reactive than copper. We can see from this reaction that iron is more reactive than copper and it is displacing copper from its solution. In this diagram, you can see copper sulfate solution is taken, iron sulfate solution is there. Okay. Now student, let's have a quick look on the topics which we have studied till now. Introduction. In introduction, what we have read, there are 118 elements in the periodic table. Out of this 118 elements, some of the elements are metal, some of the elements are non-metal, and few of them are metalloids. Metals are present on the left hand side, non-metals are present on the right hand side. A zigzag line which separates metal from the non-metals are known as metalloids. Some of the examples of metalloids are boron, silicon, germanium. And what is the definition of metalloid? They have some properties of metals and some properties of non-metals. Metals, they can lose electrons easily and they form positive ions. Examples are sodium, potassium, calcium, zinc, iron. Anything you can write. Non-metals are those elements which can gain electron to form negative ions. Example, copper. Example, carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen. Okay. Next, what we have read the different properties of metals. They are hard, okay. Exception are sodium, potassium, lithium. They are very soft in nature. Metals are malleable and ductile. They are shining in nature, means they are lustrous. They are sonorous. That means they can produce sound. They are good conductor of heat and electricity. Example are copper, silver. They have very high melting and boiling point. They are solid except mercury. Next, what is malleability and ductility? Malleability is the property of metal in which they can be beaten into thin sheets. Example, silver, gold, aluminium. And ductility is metal can be drawn into thin wires. Example, gold, silver, copper, aluminium. Now we'll have a look on the properties of non-metals. They are solid or gaseous in nature except bromine, which is liquid at room temperature. They do not conduct heat and electricity except graphite. They are non-malleable and non-ductile. They have very low melting and boiling point. They are non-lustrous except diamond and iodine. They are mostly soft and brittle except diamond. Now we'll see some of the exceptions of metals and non-metal. Mercury is a metal which exists at liquid at room temperature. Gallium and cesium are metals which have very low melting and boiling point. They will melt very easily. Iodine is non-metal but it is lustrous in nature. Carbon is a non-metal but it has 3 different allotrope forms. Diamond is the hardest known substance and very high melting and boiling point. Graphite can conduct electricity. Alkali metals like sodium, potassium and lithium are very soft in nature. Chemical properties of metals. Metals can react with air to form metal oxides. Okay. Amphoteric oxides are those oxides which can react with both acid and bases to form salt and water. Example, aluminum oxides and zinc oxide. Reaction of metal with water. Metal reacts with water to form metal oxides and these metal oxides will further react with water to form metal hydroxide. Next, reaction of metal with acids. Metal react with dilute acid to form salt and hydrogen gas. Reaction of metal with other metals. Metal will react with other metal to form the salt and the other metal will take off. Okay, so some of the metal which is very reactive, then the other metal will show the reaction in this case. For example, in this reaction, iron is more reactive than copper and it is taking the place of copper and it is forming FeSO4 and CO is coming out of the reaction. Students, we will discuss till there only in this video. Next of the portion we will cover in the next video. Till where we have studied today, please go through those topics once. If you have any doubt, do comment in the comment box and please tell me about your doubts so that I can clear all your doubts. Rest of the topic we will cover in the next video, which will be part 2 of the same chapter, metals and non-metals. Okay, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe my channel, Science Learning Gateway. And next video will be our metals and non-metals part 2 and rest of the topic we'll study over there.